Welcome to episode 49 of the Holistic Living Podcast. I have been so excited to talk about this specific topic, and that is lack of energy or fatigue and where it stems from. I can confidently say that a good 80 to 90% of the people that I know, including myself, have really low energy. And a lot of times we think, oh, we're just doing too much, we're tired, but it actually goes so much deeper than that. And it really connects to weight imbalances, illness, even cancer, things like that. And I want to dive into it, but try to also keep this episode short and sweet. This is a topic that I could spend hours talking about, and I actually have. So I do have a lot of previous YouTube videos, episodes, blogs, and so on, going into a lot of detail on this. So if you are interested, if this piques your interest and you want to learn more and know more about this, visit my YouTube channel and scroll through my videos, go scroll through this podcast, and definitely check out my blog posts and all of that. But the first thing I will say is when we are looking at someone who is fatigued, who has low energy, we are looking at what we call cellular toxicity. Cellular toxicity is at the root of all disease, and there's no protocol I ever have done or ever will do with a client that doesn't involve first getting to the cellular level and removing toxicity. And why is that? So our cells contain every little bit of information and creates all of the energy that we need to get through our day. And again, coming back to the information part, it contains all of the information that our body needs to rebuild and regenerate itself. There's two very important pieces to this. When these functions are not working optimally, so if our cell is not producing the energy correctly or it's not replicating properly, we are going to have all kinds of issues. So that's what we're going to talk about. Episode 48, so the previous one where I talked about the 4 reactional modes of disease. I went into this a lot in that episode, so definitely have a listen to this previous episode as well, as it'll give you a lot more insight. When we are exposed to an abundance of toxins, which there is no denying, again, in 2024, that we are not exposed to toxicity because everywhere we go, we smell it, we taste it, we breathe it, we see it. It's everywhere. Not just in our food supply, but so much in our water supply. Even if, for example, I give a list to my clients of foods to avoid when we start working together. And sorry, I'm going to interrupt and just give you this quick little tidbit of information. When they get this list, the biggest things on there, I'm like, you need to drink filtered water. You cannot have tap water. It's full of so many insane chemicals, fluoride, chlorine, heavy metals. And all of the glyphosate and pesticides and herbicides are in our water supply, and medications and antibiotics and all the other things. So it's so toxic. But also I give them a list of foods to avoid, and everything on there besides the dirty dozen is going to be grains like rice and things like that, and legumes. If you're consuming these things that are not organic, these are the most sprayed crops. Same with coffee. If you're consuming coffee that's not organic, it's one of the heaviest sprayed crops as well. You are going to just be pouring toxicity into the body and into the cells. So food is a huge source of toxicity. Water is a huge source of toxicity. The air that we breathe is so toxic, especially if you live near a highway or near farms. If you live out in the country, they are spraying, we don't live too far. We're about 10 minutes from a really rural area. And there is a lot so we live where we live, there's it's like in the city, but we're also on the outskirt. And then around us, there's all of these farms. So when we drive up, 10 minutes to go to the local farm, that whole area is heavily sprayed. You can see the trucks coming in, they're spraying the corn and the soy and all of that. So that's in your air that you're breathing. It's in your water table. It's around. So that is something that is, we need to think about, but also we are exposed to so much toxicity from fragrances, from products we're putting on our body and in our hair, and that we're cleaning our home with, and the list goes on. And I'm not going to spend more time talking about it, but we are heavily exposed to toxins, over 360,000 daily. So our bodies in 2024 cannot handle this amount of toxicity. This is not 100 years ago or more, where toxins were much less. Modernization has created an abundance of toxicity, and convenience has created a bunch of toxicity, having fast food and everything in packages and wrappers and restaurants and all of that. So that brings us to the point, in fact, that when we are exposed to all of these toxins, they cannot exit quickly enough. So they're sitting in our system, and our body will take these and store them away into our cells so they are out of our circulatory system. Once toxins enter the cell, this is where everything goes downhill. And anyone who has fatigue, who feels tired, needs to listen up to this. You can be tired from being a mom and running around, but at the end of the day, if you are a type of person that feels lethargic, that needs to sit, that needs to have a quick nap to get through their day, or at the very least just feels like they're about to drop, this is not a normal level of fatigue coming from everyday duties. This is your body saying, I cannot go on. I do not have enough ATP production. And why doesn't it have enough ATP production, which happens inside the cell? Because of toxicity. Toxicity shuts down and damages the mitochondria of the cell, which is the part of the cell that's going to be pulling in your sugar from the food that you eat. It binds to insulin, and it gets pulled into the cell, and your cell, it will use and burn up that sugar as energy and fuel for your body to get through your day and to feel energized, for your immune system to function and everything else. So when mitochondria is being damaged and destroyed day in and day out for years and years and years, your cells are not producing as much energy as they used to. So naturally, you are going to feel tired. No, this is not a consequence of you just getting old. People, as we get older, experience this. It's normal, but it's not common. Sorry, other way around. It's common, but it's not normal. As we get older, yes, we're going to feel more tired, but it's not just, it's part of aging. It's part of toxicity, which drives aging. You don't have to get older and feel more tired. If you do, your cells have toxicity. And when the cells have toxicity, what we start to see first and foremost is, instead of your body burning up the food that you're eating as energy and using it as fuel, it's storing it as fat. So you're going to feel tired. You're going to feel lethargic. You're not going to have energy. You're probably going to have some extra cellulite or weight gain around the abdomen, things like that. But more importantly, you are not going to have a strong vital force. You're not going to have a strong energy output, which means your body cannot accomplish many different things. One of the biggest things is, again, weight loss. So many women, once you hit a certain age, and men too, you feel like it's so impossible to lose weight or to maintain a certain weight that you once had. And it's not coming from quote unquote, just getting old. It's coming from toxicity. Your metabolic system has shut down because of the toxins that have just bombarded your cells. You cannot produce this ATP energy until these cells are cleared out and regenerated to reactivate your mitochondria and this energy production that needs to take place. So we start noticing weight issues. That's a huge thing. And this is something that maybe sometimes, certain people might not experience. You can be thin and still have cellular toxicity. Just disease shows up in a different way. You probably will have high cholesterol and, things like that. But at the very least, majority of people will notice that it starts to get harder to lose weight. You can even be skinny, but be like a quote unquote skinny fat person. So still have a pooch, even though every other part of you is skinny. So that's also something to think about. But moving it on from here, a lot of people will tell me, I never get sick. I never, ever get sick. And to me, always that's a red flag. You need to be getting sick, not every week, not even every month, but you need to be getting sick, and you need to have, some kind of symptoms for a little period of time. If you are not, there's zero chance that you are not coming in contact with a pathogen. That's just not going to happen. We live in a world where there are organisms everywhere. You are coming in contact with pathogens, with viruses, with bacteria. You're no different than anyone else. The difference is, if you are never getting sick, it's because your body's vital force is so low. Your body has no energy. Your immune system has no energy. That viruses or pathogens, bacteria enters your body, and your body's too weak to mount a response to it. When we come in contact with a virus or pathogen and you start getting coughing and a runny nose, that's not caused by the virus. That's caused by your immune system to get rid of the virus or the bacteria. If you vomit, if you are having like a stomach flu, you have sweats, you're having a fever, you're having a cough, this is how our body's going to get rid of whatever entered our system. So it's not caused by the pathogen or the virus, it's caused by the immune system, that type of a response. If you are not having that type of response, you are still coming in contact with the same pathogens that everyone else is, but your body is not strong enough to mount a response against it. The other thing is, If you're getting sick all the time, that is also a sign that your body is too weak. So if you feel like you are the type of person that gets ill and it just doesn't go away, you get a fever, then it comes down, then it goes back up, then it comes down, then it goes back up, or you have a runny nose like months after you got sick or something like that, again, your body is too weak to mount a strong and efficient response against a pathogen or virus, bacteria. And so it's creating this low-grade inflammation, doing what it can to try to clear it out, and it's not working because, again, your body is too weak. Imagine, an analogy, if you were a bodybuilder and you were doing a competition and they're like, you need to deadlift an X amount of weight. But prior to the competition, you didn't sleep. You worked around the clock working out, never resting. You didn't eat, you didn't drink. So you have no energy stores. And you're now expected to lift something crazy, a couple 100 kg, for example. I don't know, I'm just throwing a number out there. There's no way you're probably going to hit that target or that goal. You're going to struggle and struggle and struggle and just never be able to quite pick up the weight that you normally would be able to do. And it's not because that weight is heavier suddenly on that day. No, it's the same weight. It's that you just are too tired. You're too run down to be able to lift that same weight. There's no energy stores. So our immune system is the same. It's not that there's a virus that you're just not coming in contact with that everybody else is, or it's not that this virus is so aggressive that it's just lingering so long in your body. It's your immune system is too weak to mount a response at all, or if it is mounting a response, it's not a strong enough one to wipe out the virus. So you're getting sick, but it's just lasting forever. So those are some signs. And when you have fatigue, when you are feeling exhausted all the time, just never enough energy, this chronic fatigue, it is to do with cellular toxicity. There is no fixing the fatigue unless you fix the cells. And so these are some symptoms to look out for. Another thing is you can have zero responsiveness. So I have come in contact with so many people. Most of them are in my family because when we hang out and eat, I'm like, no, I can't have gluten. It's going to cause this. I can't have dairy. It's going to do that. I'm not going to have alcohol. It's going to do this. And they're always like, oh my gosh, you're so weak. We smoke and drink and eat all these things and we have no symptoms. We feel great. And always for me, I'm like, I know what's happening. I don't tell this to them because I'm not going to get into it or be rude. But what that means, if you look at someone and you see that their eyes are yellow, you know that they have liver toxicity, you see that they have cholesterol issues, so you know that they have health issues. And then they're saying that they feel great. One, they either don't feel great and they're just saying that, or two, they really do feel great. And why are they not having symptoms of inflammation? Why is there no pain or, no skin issues or anything like that? The body just cannot mount these responses. Remember, any symptom you have, if it's a skin issue, if it's joint pain, if it's a headache, if it's a runny nose, sinus issues, what is this? This isn't caused by pathogens. It's not caused by toxins. It's caused by the immune system trying to rebalance itself. The immune system says, we have these oxalates that are in our joints. We need to get them out. It's trying to pull it out of your joints. It's going to release different macrophages and immune cells to go into that area and try to clear out those oxalates or that acidic toxicity that's there. And so it's going to hurt. It's going to cause stiffness. It's going to cause soreness. Your immune system is inflaming that area. If you have toxins way too much in your bloodstream, your body can't handle it. The toxins aren't causing the symptom of your skin issue. It is your immune system, your body's way of saying, we need to get these toxins out, get it out through the skin because they can't sit in the bloodstream. Now your skin is inflamed because of that inflammation. So it's always the response of our body that causes the symptom. It's not necessarily the pathogens or the toxins. So when someone clearly has health issues or not healthy, but they don't feel anything, it's because their body is literally done. It cannot try to rebalance itself anymore. It cannot try to fix itself, to heal itself anymore. It says, I am done. I don't have any energy left. Whatever happens, happens. I cannot self-regulate. And the whole idea, when we look at like homeopathy and holistic medicine, the difference between someone who is healthy and someone who is unhealthy is the ability to self-heal and auto-regulate. If your body can heal itself and it can regulate itself by pushing toxins out through the skin if it needs to, by, doing this and that, that's a good sign. If your body can't do that, you are so far into the disease process, you have zero vital force, your body is too weak to mount a response, which is very terrifying because that is where usually death occurs through cancer or some other type of condition. When someone is in that reactional mode 4, that point of zero energy left, their energy stores are completely gone, that's where death follows. It doesn't need to follow a day later, a month or week later. It could be years, but you are in that progression of disease. So that's where cancer is allowed to come in. How do some people, get cancer and others don't? Well, when we are exposed to something like cancer and then you're saying, well, everyone around me is just getting hit with it. How am I'm going to be next. Here's the difference between someone who has cancer and someone who doesn't. And this is a really hard part. We all have cancer. Our body is constantly producing cancer cells. We have cells in our system 24/7 that are mutating, that are cancerous. However, we have an immune system for this purpose, to come in and clear and scan our body of viruses and cancer cells and get rid of them so that they do not grow into a tumor, into a growth, into a mass. They don't spread. These abnormal cells get cleared out and then we're fine until the next one's formed. But we all have cancer cells. So someone who is getting overrun with cancer, who has a tumor, a growth, whatever it might be, even if it's benign, anyone who has these growths, it means that their immune system is not scanning for cancer cells and clearing them out. And why is it not scanning? Because it doesn't have the energy. The body does not have energy to constantly scan and clear. And so at some point when you lose your vital force because of cellular toxicity, because of that lack of ATP production, at some point, your body will stop scanning for cancer cells. It can happen suddenly, it can happen over time. But regardless, when that happens, that is where you will suddenly say, oh shoot, I'm in stage cancer, I'm in stage 3 cancer, etc. It is a very serious thing. And most of us are in that stage. Most of us have lost our vital force. We don't have that energy and we are in that stage of cancer. And I can even say for myself that I'm probably quite close to that point because of my high level of stress. I am so stressed all the time. It wipes out my energy. And the stress leads to cellular toxicity, which then shuts down the mitochondria. You're not producing energy, so you feel tired all the time. That's where I'm at. And even me being a practitioner and all that, I am there too. I mean, I've worked so hard and I've gotten myself so much better where my energy levels have improved so much and things like that. But this is something that majority of people are in today. It's toxicity from our environment, from our food, from our water. You need to be careful with what you're putting into your body and making sure it is the highest and purest quality because we need to try to minimize any chance of added toxicity to an already very toxically burdened system. So coming back to the fatigue, if someone feels tired, it is the cellular toxicity. You can have adrenal fatigue. Your adrenals can say, well, I'm just not pumping out any of these hormones anymore. I've been worked too hard. But again, if your adrenals are fatigued, there is cellular toxicity. Your body is at a point of, I can't do this anymore. I don't have any energy left. So that stress response has led to toxicity within the cells and has driven all of this again. So cellular toxicity is something that is so crucial to address and to focus on. So when I work with someone, any client that I have, before you think of a heavy metal cleanse, before you think about boosting the adrenals, before you think about doing a mold detox and this, that, and the next, you have to say, first of all, like we can't do anything if our body cannot do anything if it has no energy. So you have to re-stimulate the cellular enzymes, stimulate that process to get the toxicity out of the organelles, the Golgi apparatus, the nucleus, the mitochondria, the cell wall. Pull it out so that cell can clear out, can regenerate, so our body can rebuild young, healthy, new, fresh cells that have not been damaged by toxicity, and they can go ahead and produce all of this energy for us and utilize our food as fuel, have a beautiful metabolism, and get us back into reactional mode 1, maybe 2. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that explains some things. You can go ahead and listen to my previous episode if you want to know more on the reactional modes. But if a practitioner just starts trying to work on, like, if you have gut issues, if you have chronic fatigue, if you have some serious chronic illness, and they're just like here's a couple supplements and go on your way. It's still the same as being like, quote unquote, when they say doctors are just drug dealers. If they don't ask you anything about your diet, anything about your sleep or your stress, and they just give you a pill. Natural practitioners can do the same thing. They need to go to the root of the problem. They need to understand that all of the diseases that we are exposed to today is toxicity. We need to get rid of that. That's the most important thing. So we want to do drainage therapy. That's a beautiful way to open up the cells, get the enzyme systems working again, clearing everything out. This is how people can move from reactional mode 4, which is where you can get cancer and all kinds of health issues, to reactional mode back through 3, down to 2, and ideally back to 1. And then maintenance would just be maintaining reactional mode 1, where your body is high energy, functioning well, self-healing, auto-regulating, and functioning optimally at that point. I have a membership platform. It's called holisticspring.org. I'll link it down below, where I go into so much detail on cellular toxicity and liver and kidney toxicity. And I have amazing drainage protocols available over there that you can access immediately for $11.99 a month. It's cheaper than Netflix or a cup of coffee from Starbucks, but you will get a wild amount of information, protocols, videos, forums, blog posts, live Zoom meetings, and so much more every single month. There is 7.5 years worth of resources and content there. It's all searchable. So you can go ahead and start learning about this, trying to get your body on track. I would love to have you join. You can cancel anytime, no hidden fees, no scams, no grabs. It's just all of my information uncensored and shared there so that I can continue to educate and help everyone heal their own bodies. And I would love to see you over there. So that's holisticspring.org. You can click the link in the description of the podcast to check it out and hopefully join. I hope you guys have an awesome day or night wherever you are listening from, and I'll talk to you in the next episode.